Here I am back with another Tim Talk. This one's going to be a pretty quick one, but I think it's really an important one. It's about the importance of building relationship with our earth, with the land. And something I learned when I was a very young kid. I learned this, and I'm going to call it sleeping in the woods. Sleeping in the woods, which means sleeping in nature. I just use the name woods for everything in nature. When I was young, we didn't have tents. We went out in the woods. We built our own shelters. But more often than not, we just slept out in the open. And I realized recently how I took that for granted. It was just what we did. Unless it was a tremendous rain or a snow, then we'd get into a shelter. But otherwise, we were out. And in sleeping in the woods, it allowed me to take all that 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep that I was getting, often in the dark, as time to connect with the space I was in, on the earth, in the woods, in the mountains, in the desert, by the ocean. And we connect just as much when we're asleep as we do when we're not asleep. In fact, often we connect better on a spiritual level when we're sleeping because we don't have defenses up or distractions in the way. We just absorb the very essence of the earth and of the trees and the beach and the mountains and the rocks and the plants and the animals that come by. And that is so important for building that core relationship with nature, one of love and respect and fun and so forth. So sleep out in the open as much as you can. And I didn't bring this up because I've noticed since we've come up with such incredible technology with tents and clothing and things that it's hard not to sleep in a tent because they're so light and they're so good and it feels very protective to be in a tent. But as much as you can, use that tent as a backup. Use that tent only as a backup and sleep out in the open. Even if it's right in front of that tent door, sleep out in the open. And sleep in different places. Sleep along creeks. Sleep with your head facing upstream. Sleep with your head facing downstream. Sleep up in trees. Sleep up in rocks. Sleep in gullies. Sleep on tops of things. Make your bed out of pine needles. Make it really wild and cozy. You will connect so deeply if you do this. So sleeping out in nature is something you're going to have to work at. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to build your relationship up with the earth and have it deep and to the core of who you are from your heart, you sleep out in the open. And so much of the teaching will come to you subliminally. And you will just deepen your relationship. And no work involved. It's just sleeping. Just sleeping. All right? So really give that some thought, folks. Sleep out in the woods and sleep in different locations around the woods. Oh, and the last thing I'll say, and it opens up the channels for some great adventure. Oh, man. Just one story I'll tell you. One time I'm sleeping by the Snake River in Idaho. And all of a sudden, I wake up because something was sniffing me. And this thing starts screaming just like to the top of its lungs. I'm like losing my mind. It's so crazy. And I finally find my flashlight and shine it on it. And it's an otter. It was a river otter. He was just coming up, checking me out, and I scared the heck out of him. But oh, man, that was an exciting moment. I've had bears check me out. I remember I've gone to sleep in the woods where a whole pack of wolves, I could see their eyes peeking in at me when I was sleeping in Canada once. Their eyes kind of glowing with the firelight. And you got to move beyond your fear. You do. False evidence appearing real. Remember fear? False evidence appearing real. Acronym. Is it riskier to sleep in the open than a tent? Sure. Could something happen? Sure. But don't forget, the craziest thing any of us do is just drive a crazy car every day, right? You don't need to live in the fear. Just take some risks, have some fun, and sleep in the open. And another really wonderful thing is to fall asleep by a campfire. Sleeping by a campfire with those sparks going up and that light and just staring into it nice and warm and cozy. Oh, and if you happen to wake up in the middle of the night and you're half asleep, just sit there and observe. And man, will the teachings come. All right? This is a very, very, very important thing. Sleep in the woods, out in the open. Oh. Bonita, cha,